Broncos land, what's going on? I'm back for another video today. Third video of the day. Hopefully more. We get some more free agency news. Perks of working from home, right? But here to talk about kind of part two of the current quarterback situation of the Denver Broncos. One of our avid viewers, listeners, Mark Lewis. Mark Lewis is the man. I asked y'all in the comments, what do y'all think? And I love everybody that comments, giving me, a little paragraph here and there, a little sentence here and there. Like, I don't always have the time to respond to everything because I do have another channel as well, David Talks Buffs. We're at almost 7,000 subs there. But I do see things. I do see everything. And then I saw that Mark Lewis, man. Mark Lewis wrote me an 1,800-word comment, guys. For instance, or for reference, that is more than 2 pages single-spaced. That is like a high school or college paper. Incredible. So, Mark, you deserve your own video response for putting in all of that time into your thoughts on the quarterback situation. And this is why I love doing this stuff, is to dialogue with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Mark, I'm going to read through some of your points, and we're going to have a conversation about this. This is awesome. I mean, look at this. This is awesome. This is awesome, Mark. And Mark, you need to start your own channel, man. You need to just start your own channel. I think that's what you got to do. We can collaborate. David, I'm afraid I could not disagree more about Jarrett Stidham. In fact, I'm going to make a solid argument for why I think Jarrett Stidham should be and probably will be the starter for 24. But first, let's dispel the idea that either Jameis Winston or Sam Darnold is a guy that Sean Payton wants to run this offense. I won't even bother you with the Drew Lock thing. That bridge has been burned for good. And we don't want his mama here. We don't want his mama here making comments, all that. That was weird. It was weird. You can't be a grown man and have your mama talking like that. But anyways, likewise, guys like Minshew or Brissett are terrible options. We had 7 years of bridge guys. That's a disaster. As for Sam Darnold, he is not known as a guy with a fast processor. Agree with that, which automatically makes him the exact opposite of what Sean Payton wants. He's a turnover waiting to happen. So is Winston, but memes. And in 2021, when Payton had him on the Saints roster, he had him splitting time with Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill. Yeah, that was rough, which is not a compliment to Winston. James was coming off of, yes, the 30 interception year at Tampa, and Sean was supposed to fix him. Sound familiar? He's not going to want to go through something like that again. Winston has been a turnover machine nearly his whole career. Also, I can't see Payton wanting anything to do with that. Both Winston and Darnold are also low percentage passers. Darnold has been below 60% nearly his entire career, which screams backup. The notion that either one is a bridge quarterback is merely another way of saying they are both disappointing failures in the NFL who never lived up to their promise relative to their draft position. Very true. We do need guys who have these guys who have proven they. Maybe he's asking, do we need these guys who have proven they don't have what it takes? As for the money, Darnold actually made more than Stidham did this year. I wasn't familiar with that. And that was on a short-term contract after he signed making $7 million a year. If he were signed to start, he would want much more than that. And you were correct. He signed a $10 million deal. Yeah, guys, this was, I think, written on Sunday night or Monday morning. As for Jarrett Stidham, here's a reason why I believe he will start in 2024. As for starters, few Broncos fans actually know anything about Stidham. But in 2017, he was considered by many NFL scouts, yes, you are correct, as a future first-round pick. Some even considered him as the QB2. In the 2018 draft, following his junior season at Auburn, what happened? Context is important here. In 2017, he both beat Alabama and Georgia and would have gone high in the draft had he declared, but Stidham wanted to get better in college, so he stayed in school. Unfortunately, he played a senior season behind a terrible offensive line on a very talent-deficient offense, so his numbers declined as he was running for his life most of the time. But multiple scouting reports indicate that Stidham was highly undervalued when he went in the 4th round in 2018. And I agree with you. I thought he should have gone higher in the fourth round than the fourth round. Having said this, the reason I believe Stidham will start in 24 is because I think Sean Payton likes him. Now you got me thinking. Let me take a coffee break. If we examine Peyton's prior history, we can learn something about what he's looking for in a quarterback. In 2006, when Peyton took the Saints job, he took over arguably the worst team in the NFL. With the number 2 pick in the draft, Peyton had his choice of 3 highly rated rookies, all expected to go in the top 10. But instead of taking one, Peyton did something at the time that made little sense. He ignored all 3 and went with a vet he trusted instead. The very first thing he did when he took the Saints job was offer free agent Drew Brees a contract bigger than what he would have expected. This offers a clue as to whether Peyton is likely to draft a first-round rookie in 2024. He already says that unless he falls in love with one, he won't. I agree with you there. Mark. In 2006, nobody saw Drew Brees as a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Very true. And I want to pause right here. That's why I don't get, what has Sean Payton ever done without Drew Brees? Guys, you could say that for any legendary coach without a really damn good quarterback, okay? No amazing coach is winning a ton of games. What has Sean Payton ever done outside of one Super Bowl? Well, he took the Saints to the playoffs year after year after year. Like, we haven't been to the playoffs since we won the Super Bowl in 2015, and you guys are they're haters going after Sean Payton for not winning more Super Bowls. Good Lord. I think we could say the Chiefs did a pretty good job hiring Andy Reid after getting to a Super Bowl and losing a bunch of NFC championships, right? It is clear that when you got that synergy of the right quarterback and the right head coach, you're going to do a lot of winning. And both Drew Brees and Sean Payton made each other better. It's a symbiotic thing. I don't know why people look at this stuff so black and white. So I love that you're bringing this up. In point of fact, he had a good year. He had one good year out of 5 on his resume with the Chargers, and he was not only coming off a down year in 2005, in which he regressed from 2004 playing with LT, Antonio Gates in the Chargers offense, but Brees was coming off major shoulder surgery only 3 months before Payton signed him. Surgery significant enough that at the time, Brees thought his career might have well been over, and the Dolphins passed on him. Certainly, the Chargers did not see Brees as the answer. They'd already drafted Phillip Rivers the year prior to replace him. So what did Payton see in Brees that made him go grab him immediately when he took the Saints job at his very first signing? He saw a guy with a fast processor who could get the ball out quick, throw an accurate, catchable ball, and a guy who could maneuver the pocket. The Denver media was asleep at the switch when Payton did the exact same thing when he took the Broncos job. He immediately jumped at the chance to sign Jarrett Stidham as his very first free agent signing when he took the job. He also signed him with an offer higher than many people thought he was worth, exactly what he did with Brees. This parallels between Sean's actions with regard to Brees and how he has done the same thing with Stidham. Do not end there. If you dig into what both coaches and scouts have said about Jarrett Stidham, you will find out that they repeatedly use descriptions like smart, very bright, high football IQ, knows how to read defenses, etc. Stidham's mental processor is praised by numerous places by both coaches and scouts. Let's remember who drafted him to start. Bill Belichick. That's right. He sat behind Brady for a year, and I thought he was going to be that starter the following year. I didn't understand them bringing in Cam Newton, which all by itself is a major positive that virtually any coach would value. Then he sat behind another Pro Bowl vet in Derek Carr and was coached by Josh McDaniels, who, despite being a jerk, like other NFL coaches, is a very capable quarterback coach. So Stidham has the fast processor Peyton likes, and he also has a chance to marinate behind the best quarterback in NFL history and soak in very high-level NFL coaching. This level of coaching expertise over his 4 seasons trumps Sam Darnold sitting under Kyle Shanahan for 1. I will agree with you there. We are getting closer and closer to showing that Stidham is not just a backup in Peyton's plans. He's probably the answer in 2024 rather than a rookie starter or some washed-up vet who has proven he no longer has it. Very interesting. Stidham's arm talent is first-rate. Arm talent is not so much about just how much velocity a QB can put on the ball, but it's much more than that. In fact, velocity is the most overrated aspect of throwing the football. We saw that with Paxton Lynch. It's much more about accuracy and touch, about how tightly he can spin a spiral so the ball doesn't wobble. You will find scouts praise these qualities in Stidham, particularly his ability to throw tight spirals into small windows. Stidham is also tough. He will take hits in the pocket. Yes, in order to wait on his receiver, in order to get his break. We saw a prime example of this last preseason when he uncorked a 55-yard. I remember this play, a 55-yard bomb to Marvin Mims, and took a massive shot in the ribs from an on-rushing D lineman. You'll find another example of this when he was playing with the Raiders against the 49ers in 22. Stidham is mobile. He has good feet in the pocket, good mechanics. He hangs tough in the face of the rush, and he throws an accurate catchable ball. Having said all this, neither Jameis Winston nor Sam Darnold has a clear edge over Jarrett Stidham in terms of velocity. I will agree with you there. Stidham threw 53 miles per hour at his combine. Darnold threw 56 with an average velocity locked in at 52. Winston threw 55 miles an hour when he was clocked 10 years ago, but he's probably slower now. What was Drew Brees' velocity? He threw it 52 miles per hour, slower than Stidham does. No NFL coach or GM wants to judge a quarterback on the strength of two meaningless games played at the end of the year. That's a fair point. That is not even close enough to the time to evaluate them, especially when you're talking about a guy who was sitting on the bench the entire season and had almost no practice reps with the first team. To properly evaluate whether Stidham can be a starter will take him playing the entire year as a starter. So we can't take anything from that. Finally, if you want to know what Sean Payton thinks about Jarrett Stidham, he has left us a clue that nobody has picked up on yet. Okay. In 2006, when Payton signed Brees away from the Chargers, the very next thing he did was also lure his quarterback coach from San Diego as well. Pete Carmichael Jr. spent 19 seasons in San Diego and New Orleans, and for nearly all that time, his job was to coach Drew Brees and how to work in a Sean Payton offense. On February 14th, Sean Payton hired, Pete Carmichael Jr. to coach Jarrett Stidham to do the same thing. Nobody knows more about how to coach a quarterback in that offense than Carmichael. Stidham was expected to be a first-round pick, and only a bad Auburn offense and coaching could have prevented that. Now he's had 4 seasons to sit behind Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, and get coached, and this is a great point, by Belichick, McDaniels, and Payton. Wonderful offensive minds. Belichick, but he's still good. This is exactly what the Packers did with both Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. It's literally the best way to develop an NFL quarterback, make it better. I make it better than even odds that Stidham is Denver's starter in 2024. Wow. Mark Lewis, the man. You got to start a YouTube channel. This was a fantastic read. I love it. Thank you for putting the time into this again. A lot of things to dive into here and discuss, okay? First couple things. You're totally right about the research or the history of Sean Payton in bringing in Drew Brees. You're totally right. A lot of people, and because a lot of people who are now young adults don't remember Drew Brees prior to New Orleans, they don't remember, that they had drafted Philip Rivers to move on from Drew Brees. You're totally right about that. And I think you make some great points about him having Jarrett Stidham has spent more time behind really great NFL coaches than pretty much every other quarterback option on the market. I think it's fair for you to say we can't judge a guy off of 2 games at the end of the year. I think that's totally fair. And I think you make some very valid points about why he could just be the guy here in 2024. Because you want to see what he can do. You're bringing in Pete Carmichael, all of that. I agree with you. He gets the ball out quickly. He's a fast processor. We saw him maneuver the pocket pretty well against the Chargers in some games. And hey, maybe with a another offseason, now working with Pete Carmichael, bringing in some more weapons, we can see him take that next step. I agree with you that had he not stayed at Auburn for that last year, he would have been a much higher draft pick because of the arm talent, no doubt. Sorry, I'm trying to think through my next point. But I would say that I don't know. I think you said that you need to have him start for the whole year to evaluate if he's that guy. I don't think that's necessarily the case in a 17 game season. I think that say he starts 10 games, say he starts 8 games, can you get a pretty decent idea if he's developing or not, or getting more comfortable in the offense, if he's contributing to wins more than not. But another point that you bring up, developing a guy, having him sit for a while before throwing him out there, just like Jordan Love, we've seen that that is beneficial. People forget Mahomes sat 15 games and only started that 16th game, I think, because the Chiefs were saving Alex Smith for the playoffs the next week, right? Mahomes he redshirted his first year. Okay. Now, other guys need to redshirt longer than that. So I think having this discussion, you got me hyped a little bit. Not going to lie. Like, I think you're selling me on the fact of like, we don't need somebody else to come in here and shake things up. We're probably better with some continuity at the position. I like that idea. And you can probably get some better production out of continuity than a guy coming in here, for instance, Sam Darnold, which isn't a possibility anymore, or Drew Lock coming in here and doing that. Now, I will say, I still am intrigued about Sam Howell just because he's much cheaper than Jarrett Stidham. But what you also bring up is that he was an interception. Well, you didn't bring this up. You brought this up with Jameis Winston. He was an interception machine this past year. Things to think about, right? Things to think about. But I guess it all depends on, hey, how much does Sean Payton believe? Like, does he believe, like, most likely, like, this guy can really be it? Or does he also see him as a possible tank commander and long-term quality backup? You know, we'll just have to see. I mean, he had Chase Daniel there for most of his career, right? As a really decent quality backup for the majority of his career, right? Going to be really interesting to see. I think how you lay things out is why I feel like he is high on JJ McCarthy. Why I feel like if he has a chance to go get him, he will. Bo Nix is somebody that I'm a little unsure about. The more that I look into Bo Nix, I'm not sure how Sean Payton would feel about him. But if McCarthy isn't available, I think that this could definitely be a possibility that we see play out. And again, everybody else who's watching, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. This was awesome to read through and was incredibly, this was great quality, man. This was great quality. I'm going to tag Let's Talk Broncos in here because they need to they need to have you writing for their site if you're not going to start a YouTube channel, man. I'll tell you that. So really appreciate it. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, big shout out to Mark Lewis. You do not have to spend your time doing this, and the fact that you would spend that long to write out an argument like that means the world to me. So thank you so much. We'll see what else the Broncos do today. Look forward to talking with you guys later. And as always, go Broncos.